Peace, infinite waters, diving deep once again. We're here in nature. 7 things you never knew about ancient Egypt. Hotep. I love Egypt. I've been there twice. A fascinating place. I love the energy emanating from there. And a lot of people who have gone to Egypt, they come back and they're different. Totally transformed. A great awakening experience. And there is so much to learn about the mysteries of ancient Egypt and what they left for us. I know it's a place where great masters have walked. And they're still walking. I hope so. But there's a lot of confusion about ancient Egypt. And I have seen that don't believe anything that I say unless you know it for yourself. Because I'm just sharing my own experience. Number 1, slaves did not build the pyramids. I used to work in a school, and seeing some of these textbooks, you just go like, oh my days. They must have been some pretty intelligent slaves, because you realize the full extent of history, his story, and the one who writes the history controls the future. The pyramids, the Great Pyramids of Giza, 2.5 million blocks of stone. Shall I repeat that? Each stone is between 2.5 and 20 tons. Now, an elephant weighs around about 2.5 tons. Obviously, they can weigh larger than that. But imagine 2.5 million elephants piled upon each other. Now, that's a scary thought. No one knows who built the pyramids. I have my own beliefs that it was a highly evolved civilization. We know from the Rhiine papyrus that the ancient Egyptians were adept at mathematics. Some people say it might have been divine intervention, aliens. But what we have to realize is that this was an amazing feat that cannot be accomplished today. So much precision. And there was a whole casing of smooth limestone over the pyramids. So we see the level of mastery it took to build these monumental structures. And to say that slaves built them? How did they carry these blocks of stone around? How did they transport them from A to B? We don't know. We don't know. But we say we do. Number 2 is that ancient Egyptians use powerful symbols in their everyday lives. The Ankh, the symbol of life, also the masculine and the feminine intertwined, lower and higher energy, also the Uraeus, which is a serpent, which you will find on the head of the pharaohs. And that is a symbol of actually the Kundalini energy rising, a symbol of the DNA, pineal activation. But many of us, we're afraid of snakes. Uh-oh, watch out. But it's all about illumination. So we should not be afraid of the serpent. We should see that we have to raise the Kundalini energy to reach higher consciousness. And that's what they knew. You have the scarab beetle, symbol of regeneration, renewal. The Eye of Ra. So many symbols, because symbols are reminders of how to live. You had the goddess Ma'at, representing truth, balance. And this is why ancient civilizations were so advanced, because they were in alignment to the universal frequencies of the planet. Number 3 is that ancient Egyptians loved board games. Senet is one of the oldest board games found in ancient Egypt. They loved playing it. And this game is all about knowing more about yourself, the life and death cycle. But it's very similar to chess. But it was around way before chess. So it's amazing to know. Number 4 is that ancient Egyptians were master healers. They understood that within this world, there is frequency, vibration, and energy. And they saw that they were not just healers of the whole body. Herodotus, the Greek historian, went into Egypt and he came out surprised, because he found that you had Egyptian doctors who specialized in the eyes, the brain, masters of each part of the body. Fascinating stuff. Imhotep, the father of medicine. And number 5 is that ancient Egyptians never had a hierarchy. They never had gender differences like we do today. Women had the same legal rights as men. If women wanted a divorce, no problem. Ultimately, we see that in ancient Egypt, it was a matriarchal society. That's why the feminine principle was honored. But ultimately, there was divine alignment between the masculine and the feminine. Women were seen as queens. So women embraced their femininity, just as men embraced their masculinity, but we saw how they exist within each other. Number 6 is that the ancient Egyptians invented the calendar, and they had 3 seasons consisting of 4 months, each month 30 days. And that was in alignment with the lunar cycle. So they were in alignment with the woman's menstrual cycle. That may be why they were so in tune with the earth. And then they had 5 days for holidays, just relaxing, chilling out, as you do. But without them, we would not have the calendar we do today. And yes, time is an illusion. But back then, it helped them know when the harvest would be. And they were masters of farming, agriculture. And lastly, number 7 is that in ancient Egypt, you had know thyself. That's where the 7 Hermetic laws came from. And I've already made a video on that. But what we come to see is that they had the mystery schools in ancient Kemet, which is Egypt. And you had to study for 40 years to get that ancient wisdom. But the mystery schools talked about the sciences of life, that everything is connected, all is energy, and they respected animals, all life forms. In fact, a recent study just came out showing how the majority of ancient Egyptians were vegetarians, because from the mummies, they extracted the carbon atoms. Fascinating stuff. But that's why animals were held with such reverence. Cats. All we see back then was a reflection of how they saw the universe as one complete whole. But with the pyramids, we see that they were not only in ancient Egypt, they were all over the planet. In Mexico, all over South America, even in Russia, Bosnia, at a similar time. The mystery schools realized that we live on forever. The soul within us lives on forever. But at the same time, we live in a transient universe. And being on this planet is all about mastering alchemy. I say that the secret of alchemy is making the best out of the worst and not allowing external events to govern your internal condition. In ancient Egypt, they knew that dreams were real, so within as without, and the dream world was no different from the real world. So they had prophetic dreams. Dreams held a deep significance to knowing more about one's subconscious beliefs. Also as a way of watching out for the signs. They realized that herbs such as lavender, also the lotus flower, help them to get into altered states of consciousness. Maybe that's why the civilization was so advanced, because they knew what every single plant could do. But ultimately, what I have realized the ancient Egyptians knew is that the power lied within themselves. And once you know thyself, then you become 10 times greater, 10 times stronger. But it starts with loving yourself 100%. So that is the ancient wisdom. Tell me something I don't know. It's all about higher consciousness right now on the planet. It's all about eating right. And that's why every day I'm incorporating more plant-based foods into my diet, but also thinking right, and also letting go of who you think you are. Because many of us, we are so out of tune with ourselves. And whenever I think of ancient Egypt, I think of sacred geometry. I realized how advanced this civilization was. Some people even say that the pyramids were sound chambers. It goes on forever. Just realizing how many mysteries there are of the ancient world. But we can apply all of this knowledge in our everyday life, because what happened back then is what's taking place right now. Many people have incarnated again who were living in those times. You know who you are. It's consciousness. Infinite waters. Diving deep once again. Stay well. Stay healthy. Peace.